The Odyssey floated silently through the black ocean of space. Stars stretched across the void like scattered diamonds, their light reflecting off the ship's hull. It was humanity's first true deep space exploration, a mission meant to probe the unknown reaches of the galaxy. The crew, a mix of scientists, engineers, and explorers, worked in perfect synchronization, each person aware that any mistake could be fatal. Lieutenant Mara Kellen sat in the communications bay, her eyes scanning the console's glowing panels. She had always loved signals, the way they carried secrets from distant worlds, whispers of life beyond the human imagination. Tonight, something unusual had appeared on their sensors. A faint pattern, almost like a heartbeat, pulsed in the darkness near a planet that wasn't on any star charts. "Mara," Captain Ren Harrow called over the intercom. His voice was calm yet firm. "Do you have anything? We're approaching the outer boundary of the unexplored sector." Mara's fingers danced across the console. "It's strange, sir. Not like any natural phenomenon we've recorded. The pattern, it almost feels like a message." The captain frowned. "A message? From what?" "That's the thing," Mara said, leaning closer to the console. "It's not in any language, I know, but it has structure, rhythm. It feels like someone is trying to speak to us." Harrow paused. The Odyssey had encountered many anomalies, from rogue asteroids to unstable energy fields. But this felt different. Something about the signal stirred a quiet excitement in the crew, a sense that the universe had just turned a page, and they were the first to read it. "Prepare a probe," Harrow ordered. "Let's see what we're dealing with before we get too close." Mara nodded. The probe detached from the ship, slipping silently into space, guided by her deft commands. Its sensors analyzed the planet below, a rocky world with jagged mountains and sprawling plains. But the most striking feature was a faint glow emanating from beneath the surface, as if the planet itself were alive. "Sir?" Mara said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I think it's communicating." Harrow's brow furrowed. "Communicating how?" "Listen," Mara said, adjusting the console. The ship's speakers crackled, and a whisper, drifted through the air. It was soft, melodic, and impossibly intelligent. "Are you alone? Human?" The crew froze. Whispers like this were not supposed to exist in the emptiness of space. The voice was not threatening, yet it carried a weight, a presence that made every human on board pause and think. Mara felt her heart race. It was directed at her, she was certain of it. The voice seemed to probe her mind, to understand her thoughts, her intentions, her very being. Captain Harrow finally spoke, his voice steady. "Everyone remain calm. This could be a life form, or some advanced AI. Mara, can you respond?" She hesitated. The words on her lips felt small, inadequate. But something inside her, the curiosity that had driven her into space in the first place, urged her forward. "This is Lieutenant Mara Kellen of the human vessel Odyssey," she said into the microphone. "We received your signal. We are not alone, but we are explorers seeking understanding. Who are you?" The silence that followed was heavier than the vacuum outside. Then the whisper returned, softer this time, almost amused. "Curious, brave, alone yet not." The crew exchanged nervous glances. Whispers in the void of space were one thing. A voice that seemed to understand human nature was something else entirely. Mara adjusted the probe's sensors to send a wider scan. The signal intensified, responding to her curiosity. The planet's surface, which had appeared barren, now shimmered with faint bioluminescent patterns, spiraling across its rocky terrain like veins of light. It was beautiful, alien, and alive. "Sir?" Mara said, pointing to the console. "The planet itself. It's responding to us. It's like it knows we are here." Harrow stared, a mix of caution and awe in his eyes. "Prepare for descent. We need to see this for ourselves. But keep safety protocols active. I don't want anyone stepping onto that surface without full protection." The Odyssey descended slowly, the planet growing larger in the viewing ports. Jagged mountains loomed, like sleeping giants, and the glowing patterns on the plains pulsed rhythmically, almost like a heartbeat. Mara's excitement mixed with unease. There was something intelligent here, something ancient and possibly dangerous. As they landed, the ship's stabilizers hissed, and the crew prepared to step onto the alien soil. Mara led the team, her boots crunching on the surface. The ground felt firm, yet there was a strange energy beneath it, a vibration that seemed to hum in tune with the voice they had heard. The whisper returned, clearer this time. "Are you alone? Human?" Mara stopped and looked around. "We are not alone. We have each other and we have curiosity. We seek understanding, not conflict." The words hung in the air, almost tangible. Then, slowly, from the glowing plains ahead, a figure emerged. At first it was just light, shimmering, pulsing, and ethereal. But as it approached, it took shape. A being unlike any human or machine, with eyes that seemed to see through Mara's mind and a presence that made the hair on her arms stand on end. The crew instinctively formed a protective circle around Mara, but she held up her hand. Something in the being's stance was calm, curious, not hostile. "You," the being whispered, its voice both in her mind and her ears. "You are human. Alone. And yet not. You survive. You endure. You think." Mara swallowed hard. Her heart pounded, but she stepped forward. "Yes. We are human, and we are explorers. We wish to understand your world." The figure tilted its head, almost as if studying her. Light flowed from its body, touching the ground and making the patterns beneath them dance and shift. The whisper seemed to smile. "Curious? Brave? You may stay, but the path is not easy. The world tests all who enter. Are you ready to see what lies beneath?" Mara looked back at her crew, each member tense but trusting her judgment. She nodded. "We are ready." The being's form shimmered and moved, leading them toward a cavern where the light pulsed like a living river. The deeper they went, the more the patterns responded to their presence, almost as if the planet itself were breathing around them. Mara felt a thrill of excitement and fear. The voice, the light, the unknown, all of it pointed to something larger than themselves. Humanity had always believed it was alone in the universe. Yet here, in this strange place, they were confronted with intelligence far beyond anything they had imagined. As they reached a wide chamber, the being paused. "Here, you will see. But remember, human, curiosity and courage will be your guide. Fear is weakness, but understanding is strength." Mara nodded. She felt the weight of those words. Humanity had survived because of curiosity, courage, and the ability to rise above fear. That same spirit had brought them here, to a world that seemed alive, that questioned them, that awaited their response. The chamber opened into a vast space filled with crystalline structures that glowed with the same rhythmic patterns from the planet's surface. The light shifted and pulsed in harmony with their movements, almost as if the entire world was alive and watching them. Mara could feel it in her bones. This was only the beginning. The whisper that had reached them in the void was more than a greeting. It was a test, a question, a challenge. Humanity had taken its first step into a larger universe, one where intelligence and courage would be measured in ways they could not yet comprehend. The alien queen, or whatever this being truly was, stood before them, her presence radiant and commanding. She did not speak immediately, but her gaze alone carried the weight of centuries, perhaps millennia. Mara knew that everything was about to change, not just for her, but for all of humanity. And as the whisper echoed once more in her mind, Mara realized the truth. They were not alone. Not yet, but they were about to discover just how much difference a single human could make in the vastness of the universe. The chamber was vast, far larger than anything the crew had imagined. Crystalline towers rose like mountains from the glowing floor, their surfaces reflecting a kaleidoscope of light. The patterns on the ground pulsed rhythmically, matching the quiet hum that vibrated through the ship's hull. Every step Mara took seemed to awaken a response from the planet, as if it were alive and aware of their presence. Captain Harrow stayed close to the group, his hand hovering near the control panel on his suit. "Stay alert," he whispered. "We don't know what this place can do. Keep scanning for life forms." Mara's gaze remained fixed on the figure ahead. The being's form was humanoid, but unlike any species humans had ever seen. Its body shimmered, almost translucent in the glow, with light flowing beneath what appeared to be skin. Eyes the color of molten silver seemed to peer directly into her mind, not just looking at her but through her. The being's voice, soft, melodic, yet commanding, spoke again. "You are curious, brave, and fragile. The human spirit is strong, but fragile." Mara stepped forward, trying to hide the rapid beating of her heart. "I am Mara Kellen of the human vessel Odyssey. We do not seek conflict. We want understanding. Who are you?" The being tilted its head, considering her words. Light rippled across its body, shifting like liquid crystal. "I am called the Queen by my people. I watch, I guide, I test. And you have arrived at the edge of my world." Harrow took a cautious step forward. "Your people? Are you alone here? Or is this some kind of colony?" The Queen's gaze shifted toward him, and Mara felt the air thicken with quiet intensity. "We are few," the Queen whispered. "Our world survives through harmony, through intelligence. Yet we watch all who reach the stars. You, humans, you are unique, fragile, yet dangerous in your creativity. I have waited to see one of you face the truth of the universe." Mara's mind raced. "You've been watching humanity?" "Yes," the Queen said. Her voice pulsed like a soft vibration. "For decades, perhaps centuries, your species endures, adapts, creates, destroys, yet rises again. I wonder, can you rise beyond what you know?" Harrow's hand moved instinctively to his sidearm, though Mara could feel the futility of it. The Queen was not a threat, at least not in a conventional sense. Her presence alone carried authority, intelligence, and a warning. The Queen stepped closer, the crystalline light around her flowing and bending like water. "I offer you a choice," she said. "To leave and return to your small world, carrying only the memory of this encounter, or to stay and see what humanity is truly capable of." Mara exchanged a glance with her crew. Every one of them had felt the same pull, the same curiosity and awe that she did. To leave would mean abandoning the chance to understand something far beyond human comprehension. To stay was to risk everything. "We choose to stay," Mara said finally, her voice firm. "We wish to understand. We want to learn." For us, Queen's form seemed to shimmer brighter, almost as if the planet itself was acknowledging her decision. "Very well," she whispered. "Then you will be tested, not in strength nor in violence, but in the spirit of your kind. Humanity survives because it is clever, because it does not know when to give up, because it dreams. These qualities I wish to see." Harrow frowned. "Tested? What kind of test?" The Queen's eyes glimmered. "The tests of intellect, of courage, of understanding. If you succeed, you will see truths few have ever known. If you fail, you will leave, or remain, lost in the depths of this world." Mara's stomach tightened. She had always known exploration carried risk, but this was different. This was not about engineering or navigation. This was about understanding something far older, far wiser than humanity itself. The Queen extended a hand, and the crystalline floor beneath them shifted. Walls of light rose to form pathways, spiraling and weaving into shapes that seemed impossible. "Follow me," she said. "See what your kind can achieve when challenged not by force, but by thought." As they moved, The chamber seemed to respond to their presence. The light beneath Mara's feet pulsed faster when she hesitated, then slowed when she stepped with confidence. The crew began to notice patterns forming, shapes that resembled ideas or concepts more than objects. It was as if the planet itself could communicate through the light. "This place," Mara whispered. "It's alive. It's thinking." "Yes," the Queen said. "And it will test you. Humans are capable of thinking in ways even I cannot predict. That is why I have brought you here. Your species may surprise me, or fail spectacularly." The first trial revealed itself in a grand chamber filled with massive crystalline structures, each shaped like a puzzle. Light flowed across the surface in complex patterns, constantly changing, reacting to their movements. "You must navigate this space," the Queen said. "Not with brute force, but with understanding. Observe, think, adapt. Only then will the path forward open." Mara stepped forward cautiously. She noticed the flow of light shifted as she moved her hands, almost like the structure was responding to her thought. "It's not just a puzzle," she said. "It's alive. It reacts to our ideas." The crew spread out, each member approaching a different section. Engineers calculated angles, scientists observed the changing patterns, and Mara realized that the solution required imagination, not calculation alone. She closed her eyes briefly, letting intuition guide her, then reached out. Light bent around her hand, forming a path. One by one, the crew followed, their confidence growing. The Queen watched silently, her presence calm but penetrating. "Interesting," she whispered. "Curiosity, courage, adaptation. You are learning, and yet the universe will continue to challenge you." Hours passed as the crew solved puzzle after puzzle, each more complex than the last. Through it, Mara began to understand something profound. The Queen was not testing them for amusement or malice. She was searching for a species capable of thinking beyond instinct, beyond survival. Humanity's strength lay not in muscle or technology, but in imagination, in cooperation, in the endless drive to rise above challenge. At one point, Mara paused, overwhelmed by the complexity of the patterns. "I don't know if we can do this," she admitted, her voice low. The Queen's presence seemed to wrap around her, warm and guiding. "Doubt is natural. Fear is natural. But understanding comes from persistence, from courage to face the unknown. Humans, you will endure, if you choose to believe in your own potential." Mara felt a surge of determination. She nodded, and with renewed focus, she guided her team through the next puzzle. The structures shifted, the light flowed, and suddenly a pathway opened, leading deeper into the heart of the planet. "You have done well," the Queen whispered. "But this is only the beginning. The universe is vast, and the truths you seek are even greater. Are you prepared to see them?" Mara looked at her crew, each face reflecting a mix of awe and determination. "We are," she said firmly. "We are ready." The Queen extended her hand once more, the light flowing from her fingertips like a river of energy. "Then come," she said, "and witness what your species can become, if it dares to rise beyond fear." As they followed her, Mara felt a deep sense of purpose. Humanity had always looked up at the stars, wondering if they were alone. Now for the first time they had an answer. A presence older, wiser, and more intelligent than they could have imagined. And that presence was inviting them to learn, to grow, and to prove the strength of the human spirit. The whisper returned, one last time as they entered the next chamber. "Are you ready, human, to show the universe what you can do?" Mara met the Queen's gaze. "Yes," she said, her voice steady and strong. "We will show you." And in that moment, Mara knew that everything had changed. Humanity was no longer just a small species on a blue planet. They were explorers, thinkers, and creators. They were ready to face the unknown and perhaps to teach the universe something new about courage, curiosity, and resilience. The journey had only just begun. The deeper they moved into the alien city, the more the world around Mara and her crew seemed alive. Crystalline walls shifted as they walked, and the light beneath their feet pulsed in rhythm with their steps. The air carried a faint hum, not of sound but of thought, as if the planet itself could sense their intentions. Every pulse seemed to echo the whisper that had first greeted them. "Are you alone, human?" Captain Harrow stayed close to Mara, scanning the environment. "Stay alert," he said. "We don't know what's ahead. This place, it's intelligent. It could react to anything we do." Mara nodded, her mind racing. She had never seen anything like this, not in simulations or in the distant reaches of space. "I know," she whispered. "But that's why we're here. This is what humans are meant for. To learn, to adapt, to overcome." The Queen's presence appeared before them, shimmering like liquid crystal. Her form radiated calm, yet her gaze carried a challenge. "Your first trial begins here," she said. "It is not a test of strength nor of weapons. It is a test of thought, courage, and understanding. Fail, and the path forward will close forever. Succeed, and you will glimpse what humanity may become." Mara felt a shiver run down her spine. She had faced difficult missions before, but nothing compared to this. The stakes were not life and death alone. They were measured in intelligence, intuition, and the essence of human creativity. The Queen gestured, and a vast space opened before them. It was filled with massive, floating geometric shapes, each one glowing faintly, rotating in complex patterns. Some shapes seemed impossible, bending and folding in ways that defied human logic. Light rippled across them as though they were aware of the crew's gaze. "These shapes," Mara whispered, "they're alive. They respond to us." "Yes," the Queen replied. "They respond to thought and action. You must navigate this space and solve its puzzles and understand the harmony within chaos. Only then will you pass." Harrow frowned. "We can't just brute force this. Even our best calculations won't work. This is something else." Mara's eyes narrowed, studying the shapes. She noticed subtle patterns in their movement, changes in light intensity, shifts in angles. "It's a puzzle," she said. "But not just any puzzle. It's alive. We have to understand it, not just solve it." The crew spread out, cautiously testing the floating shapes. Engineers tried calculations, scientists observed patterns, and Mara relied on intuition. Slowly, she began to see connections. A shift in one shape caused a subtle ripple in another, movements repeated in sequences, almost like a language, like thoughts being expressed through geometry and light. "This is incredible," she murmured. "It's thinking, communicating through its form." Hours passed as the crew experimented. At times, frustration grew. Shapes would suddenly change, their patterns breaking as if mocking incorrect assumptions. Some crew members hesitated, overwhelmed by the complexity, but Mara reminded them, "Fear and doubt are natural. Understanding comes from persistence and courage. Trust in yourselves. That is humanity's greatest strength." Slowly, their efforts began to succeed. One by one, the shapes responded predictably, forming paths that allowed the crew to move deeper into the chamber. It was not a test of speed, but of insight, of observation, and of the ability to think beyond the obvious. The Queen observed silently, her presence enveloping the chamber. "Curious," she whispered. "Humans, unpredictable, yet capable of clarity. You learn, you adapt, and yet, the universe has more trials than this." As they reached the next area, the challenge changed. Massive pools of liquid crystal lay before them, their surfaces reflecting shifting light patterns. The Queen's voice echoed through the chamber. "You must communicate with the life forms of this world. They do not speak as you do. They respond to thought, emotion, and intent, misunderstand them, and the path closes. Mara's heart pounded. Communicate with beings we cannot see or hear? Yes, the Queen said. Humans survive because they can understand more than what is obvious. Show me that ability. The crew hesitated at first, unsure how to approach invisible intelligence. Mara closed her eyes and reached out with her mind, her thoughts flowing not as words, but as images, feelings, and intent. Slowly, she felt a connection. The pools rippled gently, responding to her calm determination. Captain, she whispered, they feel what we feel. They understand emotion, intention. We have to project our purpose clearly. Harrow nodded, following her example. The crew began to focus on thoughts of cooperation, curiosity, and peaceful intent. Slowly, the pools began to form shapes, bridges, pathways, even letters of light that spelled encouragement. The alien life forms were testing them, and humanity's willingness to cooperate, to think beyond fear, became their key to success. Hours turned into a full cycle of the planet's rotation. Exhaustion crept in, but the crew persisted, inspired by Mara's determination. Finally, the pools settled, forming a grand path leading upward into a towering crystalline spire. The Queen's voice filled the chamber, resonating like music in their minds. You have shown persistence, courage, and understanding. You have succeeded for now, but the universe tests endlessly. Humans endure because they never give up. They adapt. They learn. That is why your species has survived. Mara exhaled, her heart still racing. She looked at her crew. Each face reflected relief, awe, and pride. They had succeeded in a challenge that no one could have expected, and yet it was only the first of many. The Queen led them further, and the challenges became increasingly complex. They encountered labyrinths that shifted with thought, riddles that required intuition more than logic, and environments that responded to emotion. Mara realized that each trial was designed not to defeat them, but to reveal the unique strength of humanity. This is incredible, she whispered to Harrow. It's not about survival. It's about proving our ability to think, to adapt, to rise above fear. Harrow nodded, still scanning the surroundings. And the Queen, she's watching every move. She's testing not just what we can do, but who we are. At one point, Mara encountered a puzzle that seemed impossible. A massive sphere floated before her, covered in interlocking crystalline layers. The light shifted constantly, patterns forming and dissolving faster than she could comprehend. She felt panic rise, but then she remembered the Queen's words. Fear is weakness. Understanding is strength. Mara took a deep breath, closing her eyes. She imagined the sphere as a whole, not as individual pieces. Slowly, she felt the rhythm of its movement, the flow of energy within. Her hands moved instinctively, guiding the layers into alignment. A beam of light shot upward as the sphere opened, revealing the path forward. The crew cheered quietly, their spirits lifted. The Queen's voice filled the chamber, softer this time. Interesting, humans, unpredictable yet capable of harmony. You see what others cannot, and that is why you endure. By the end of the trials, Mara and her team had learned to trust intuition, emotion, and collaboration as much as logic and calculation. They had faced challenges designed to test intellect, empathy, and courage, and they had succeeded not by force, but by understanding and adaptation. The Queen stood before them, radiant and serene. Your species is remarkable, fragile, yet capable of great endurance. You have shown me that humans can rise beyond what I imagined, but there are greater truths ahead. Truths that may challenge even the strongest of your kind. Mara met the Queen's gaze, her heart steady. We are ready, she said. We will continue. We want to learn. We want to see what humanity can become. The Queen nodded, and for the first time a faint smile seemed to form in the light of her being. Then follow, and witness the next stage. The universe watches human. And now, I watch you. As they moved deeper into the alien city, Mara felt a sense of awe and determination. Humanity had faced its first true test, not against enemies or harsh environments, but against intelligence far older and wiser than themselves. And yet, they had succeeded. They had proven that curiosity, courage, and collaboration were more powerful than fear, that the human spirit could shine even in the darkest corners of the cosmos. For Mara, the question that had echoed in the void, "Are you alone, human?" now had a new meaning. Humanity was not alone in the universe, and it was not powerless. They were explorers, thinkers, creators, and survivors. They were ready for whatever the universe would challenge them with next, and as the glowing pathways guided them deeper, into the unknown, Mara knew that their journey had only just begun. The deeper they ventured into the alien city, the more Mara sensed the weight of the Queen's presence. The crystalline towers towered higher, bending light into patterns that made the air shimmer with a strange energy. Every step the crew took seemed guided by unseen hands, the planet itself alive, observing and responding to their movement. The trials had prepared them, but now the stakes felt larger, far beyond anything they had faced. The Queen led them into a vast chamber at the heart of the city. Unlike the glowing corridors they had passed, this place was serene, filled with soft golden light. In the center floated a sphere of radiant energy, pulsing gently like the heartbeat of the planet. Mara could feel it resonate through her body, a vibration that spoke not in words but in understanding. "You have performed well," the Queen said, her voice echoing in the chamber, though it felt as if it was inside Mara's mind. "Your species survives because you endure, because you imagine, because you rise above fear. But now, you must understand why I've brought you here." Mara stepped forward, curiosity burning in her chest. "Why us?" she asked. "Why did you watch humanity for so long?" The Queen's gaze softened, light flowing around her like liquid silver. "Humans are unique. You survive in ways other species cannot. You create, destroy, rebuild, and adapt. You dream beyond necessity. That is why I watched. And now I need you to see what I have seen." The sphere in the center expanded and visions filled the chamber. Mara and the crew gasped as images of countless worlds appeared before them. Thriving civilizations, collapsing cities, and species struggling against natural disasters beyond their control. The Queen's voice guided them. "These worlds," Mara whispered. "What is this?" "They are not random," the Queen said. "They are examples of intelligence facing the universe. Some endure, some fail. Some thrive because they adapt, cooperate, and innovate. Others perish because they cannot rise above fear or conflict. Humanity stands at a threshold. You have survived against incredible odds on a fragile planet, and yet, you are only beginning." Hero stepped forward, his voice measured. "You mean to say that we are significant? That humans have something the universe needs?" "Yes," the Queen said. "Your creativity, your resilience, your willingness to learn, these qualities are rare, and they are necessary. We, the species who built this world, who observe the cosmos, face extinction. Our numbers dwindle. We survive because we preserve knowledge, but our species cannot adapt as you do. That is why I tested you." Mara felt a shiver run down her spine. "You watched us, to see if we could help." The Queen's light pulsed gently like a smile. "Not to help, but to see if you are capable. Capable of thinking beyond instinct, beyond preservation, beyond fear. The universe demands more than survival. It demands understanding. And you, humans, you have the potential." The chamber shifted, revealing images of alien worlds, some flourishing with life, others reduced to ruins. Mara noticed a pattern. The worlds that survived relied on collaboration, adaptation, and foresight. The worlds that fell had neglected learning, cooperation, and understanding. "You see," the Queen continued, "even with all our knowledge, even with all our technology, we cannot predict every challenge. We cannot adapt as swiftly as your species. That is why we need to observe, and why I need you to understand what lies ahead." Mara looked at her crew, each face reflecting awe, fear, and hope. "So this is why we are here. To prove that humans can rise above, to show that we can survive, and help shape the future." The Queen's voice resonated softly. "Yes, you are not here to conquer or dominate. You are here to understand, to learn, and to demonstrate that intelligence coupled with courage can influence the course of the universe. Your species has the ability to inspire change. sometimes in ways others cannot foresee. Harrow's hand moved to his chin, thoughtful. So the trials weren't about testing strength or knowledge alone. They were about seeing if we could think in ways no other species could, to adapt, to cooperate, to dream. Beyond instinct, the Queen's gaze met Mara's. Precisely, and you have shown promise. Humans endure because they do not always follow the predictable path. You innovate, you collaborate, you endure, and that is why I have chosen to reveal this truth to you. The sphere in the center began to spin, projecting new visions, images of vast networks of civilizations working together, sharing knowledge across galaxies, solving problems that no single species could tackle alone. Mara realized that the Queen's intent was not merely observation. She sought a species capable of joining this network, one that could think beyond the limits of even her ancient people. You want humans to join this network? Mara asked, awe in her voice. Yes, the Queen replied. But first you must understand that joining requires more than skill. It requires courage, empathy, and the willingness to face challenges that will test your very nature. You must learn to rise above fear, to understand others, and to see the universe not as a series of obstacles, but as a living system in which all actions matter. Mara swallowed, her mind racing. And if we succeed, what happens then? You will carry knowledge and experience back to your kind, the Queen said. You will guide humanity to horizons you cannot yet imagine. You will see that your species is capable of more than survival. You can become a force for understanding and creation in a universe that desperately needs it. The crew exchanged glances. The weight of the revelation was immense. They had always dreamed of exploration, of discovering new worlds, of encountering other forms of life. But this was beyond anything they had imagined. Humanity's potential had never seemed so vast, yet the responsibility felt almost overwhelming. Mara took a deep breath. We are ready to learn. We will face whatever is necessary to prove that humanity can rise above fear and limitation. The Queen's light pulsed brighter, radiating warmth and approval. You understand the importance. That understanding alone sets you apart. Many species can survive, but few can comprehend their role in the greater web of existence. Humans, you are capable of that comprehension. That is why you were chosen. Harrow stepped forward, determination in his eyes. Then we will continue. We will face the trials, learn what we must, and show that humans can rise to this challenge. Not because it is easy, but because it is necessary. The Queen's presence seemed to expand, her form glowing with radiant energy. Very well. The universe is vast, human. You have seen but a fragment of what exists. The trials ahead will not be easy, and you will face choices that test not only your intelligence but your courage, your empathy, and your capacity for understanding. Are you prepared? Mara felt a surge of pride and determination. We are prepared. Humanity is ready to face whatever lies ahead. The Queen extended her hand and the chamber shifted. The sphere dissolved, revealing a new pathway, an enormous spiral bridge that led upward into the heart of the city. Light flowed beneath it like a river, reflecting patterns that Mara recognized from earlier trials, now forming more complex, beautiful sequences. This path, Mara whispered. It's alive too, responding to us, guiding us. Yes, the Queen said. All that exists here is alive, aware, and observing. You will continue to learn, to adapt, and to understand. Each step tests not just what you know, but what you're capable of becoming. The crew followed the Queen, moving carefully along the glowing bridge. Mara noticed subtle patterns in the light, symbols that seemed to communicate lessons about cooperation, insight, and patience. She realized that every challenge they faced, every trial they completed, had been designed not just to test, but to teach. Hours passed, though time seemed meaningless in the radiant world. The Queen guided them to a chamber filled with mirrors of light, each reflecting not their physical forms, but their thoughts, intentions, and emotions. Mara felt as if she were seeing herself, not just her body, but her mind, her courage, her doubts, and her determination, laid bare. You see yourself clearly, the Queen whispered, and you see your kind. Humans endure because you confront not only the world, but yourselves. You learn, adapt, and rise above fear. That is why you are capable of shaping the future. Mara felt a deep understanding settle over her. The trials, the puzzles, the alien intelligence, they were not just challenges. They were lessons. Humanity's strength lay not in weapons, not in numbers, not in technology alone, but in the mind, in the courage to explore, in the empathy to understand, and in the creativity to solve the impossible. The Queen's light shimmered, casting patterns across the chamber. "Now you understand," she said softly. "You are not alone, human. And yet, you are capable of greatness beyond what you imagine. The universe watches and waits. What you do next will shape not only your species but the future of countless worlds." Mara met the Queen's gaze, her heart steady, filled with awe, hope, and determination. "We will rise," she said. "We will face the challenges and humanity will endure. We are ready to see what comes next." The Queen nodded and the light around her shimmered like a gentle wave. "Then follow. The final trials await. You have seen the truth of the universe, and now you will prove that humanity can rise above fear, doubt, and limitation. You are ready for everything that lies ahead." And as Mara and her crew stepped forward, leaving the final chamber of the alien city stretched beyond what the eye could see. Light flowed like rivers across the crystalline floor, reflecting patterns of unimaginable complexity. The air hummed with intelligence, resonating not only in sound but in thought. Every pulse of the world seemed to reach into the minds of Mara and her crew, a reminder that the planet and the Queen were alive, observing every movement, every thought. The Queen's presence was radiant, more commanding than ever. She floated before them, light shifting in patterns that suggested curiosity, judgment, and approval all at once. "You have come far, humans," she said. "You have endured trials that would overwhelm even the most advanced species. You have shown creativity, courage, and understanding. But the final test awaits. This is not merely a puzzle or a challenge. It is a choice." Mara stepped forward, her heart steady despite the awe she felt. "What kind of choice?" she asked. The Queen's gaze swept over the crew. "You may leave this place and return to your world, carrying knowledge of your achievements here. Or you may accept the role I offer, to join a network of species capable of shaping the galaxy through thought, collaboration, and creation. But know this, to accept is to embrace responsibility beyond any you have faced. The universe will test you endlessly, and failure may have consequences not only for you but for your entire species." Harrow exchanged a glance with Mara, concern and determination in equal measure. "And if we accept?" he asked. "You will learn," the Queen said. "You will share knowledge with civilizations beyond your imagination. You will face challenges that demand ingenuity, courage, and empathy, and humanity. If it succeeds, will be a force of change, not through conquest but through intelligence, adaptability, and vision." Mara felt the weight of the decision pressing down on her. Every step they had taken had led to this moment. Every puzzle solved, every trial endured had prepared them for this choice. To accept the Queen's offer was to step into a future of uncertainty, responsibility, and unparalleled opportunity. But Mara's instincts told her that humans were ready. "We accept," she said firmly. Her voice carried conviction echoing through the chamber. "Humanity is ready to learn, to adapt, and to rise to the challenges you offer. We are ready to show what our species can do." The Queen's light pulsed brighter, a wave of approval washing over the chamber. "Very well. Then humanity steps onto a new path, one that will test not just your skills but the essence of what it means to be human. You will carry your curiosity, your courage, and your creativity into the wider galaxy. You will inspire and learn in equal measure. The universe will watch, and it will not underestimate you again." The chamber shifted around them, revealing a vast corridor lined with glowing arches. Each arch projected visions of worlds teeming with life, civilizations working together, and problems that required cooperation, intelligence, and innovation to solve. Mara could feel the weight of possibilities pressing against her mind, the potential to influence countless lives, to prevent suffering, and to guide new civilizations toward understanding and growth. "This is incredible," Mara whispered. "It's like nothing we've ever imagined. We can actually help shape the galaxy." "Yes," the Queen said. "But remember, power without wisdom is destructive. You must lead with empathy, with understanding, and with the courage to learn from mistakes. That is what makes humans remarkable. That is why you endure." The crew followed the Queen, moving carefully along the corridor. Every step revealed new lessons, new insights. Mara realized that the trials they had faced were not merely tests. They were a preparation for the responsibilities ahead. Humanity's strength lay not in strength or weapons, but in thought, creativity, and collaboration. Hours passed, though time seemed meaningless in this radiant world. The final corridor led to a chamber that pulsed with the energy of 100 civilizations. Mara could feel it in her mind. The collective intelligence, the endless curiosity, the drive to create and endure. The Queen spoke softly. Here you will begin your true journey. You will learn from the galaxy, and you will teach. You will face challenges beyond comprehension, and you will rise to meet them. Your species is small yet capable of greatness beyond measure. Remember that. Carry it forward, and humanity will never be alone again. Mara looked around at her crew. Their eyes reflected wonder, determination, and pride. They had faced the unknown, solved impossible puzzles, and endured trials that tested their very essence. And now they were ready to embrace a destiny larger than they had ever imagined. Captain, Mara said, her voice steady, we are ready. Humanity is ready. This is our moment. Harrow nodded, placing a hand on the console as he surveyed the chamber. We've survived impossible odds before, and will continue to endure. Let's show the universe what humans are capable of. The Queen's light expanded, surrounding them like a protective cocoon. Then step forward, humans. Begin your journey. Share your knowledge, learn from others, and show the galaxy the strength of your spirit. You are no longer merely a species on a fragile planet. You are explorers, thinkers, and creators. You are a force for understanding, for growth, and for hope. Mara felt a surge of emotion. For the first time, she truly understood the potential of humanity. Not just their survival, but their ability to inspire, to adapt, and to shape the universe in ways few other species could. The question that had haunted her since the first whisper now felt complete. Are you alone, human? Oh, humanity was not alone, and they never would be again. The Queen extended her hand and a bridge of light formed before them, connecting the chamber to a platform that hovered above the alien city. Mara felt the energy of the planet flowing through her, a gentle reminder of their connection to the universe and to the potential that lay ahead. You will return, the Queen said, but you will carry this knowledge with you. Humanity's path is no longer limited to a single world. You will join a council of species dedicated to learning, creation, and understanding. Your ingenuity will guide others, your courage will inspire them, and your spirit will endure. As they stepped onto the platform, Mara felt the energy of the bridge respond to her presence. The light pulsed in harmony with her heartbeat, flowing upward like a river into the vastness of the sky. The city below shimmered, alive and aware, yet at peace. This is incredible, Mara whispered. It feels limitless. Yes, the Queen said softly. The universe is not limited, and now, neither is humanity. The crew looked down at the city, at the glowing towers, the rivers of light, and the pathways that seemed to stretch into infinity. Each of them understood the responsibility and opportunity before them. They had faced the unknown, endured its trials, and emerged capable of shaping the future. Mara turned to Captain Harrow. This is only the beginning. We've been chosen not just to survive, but to grow, to learn, and to inspire. Humanity has a chance to change the galaxy, not by force, but by creativity and understanding. Harrow smiled, placing a hand on Mara's shoulder. And we will. Humans endure, and we rise. Always. The Queen's presence began to fade, leaving behind a gentle radiance that lingered in the platform. Her final words echoed in their minds. The universe watches, human, and now I watch you. Rise, endure, inspire, show the galaxy what your kind can do. As the Odyssey prepared to return to human space, Mara looked out at the stars, her heart filled with hope and purpose. Humanity's journey had only begun, but the first steps had already proven something extraordinary. They were no longer just inhabitants of a fragile blue planet. They were explorers, thinkers, and creators. They were capable of shaping the future of countless worlds, inspiring hope, and leaving a mark on the universe that would endure for generations. Mara felt a deep sense of pride, not just for herself but for all of humanity. The whisper that had reached her in the void, "Are you alone, human?" had been answered. They were not alone. They were part of a greater universe capable of understanding, learning, and influencing the cosmos in ways no one had ever imagined. As the Odyssey ascended from the alien world, Mara knew that humanity's story had changed forever. They had faced the impossible, risen to challenges beyond imagination, and proven that their spirit could shine in the darkest corners of the galaxy. And somewhere, far across the stars, the alien queen watched with quiet approval, knowing that humanity had the courage, creativity, and resilience to step boldly into the unknown. The universe was vast, mysterious, and full of challenges. But humanity was ready. The journey had only just begun.